Hello, everybody, this is Purge, bringing you guys first person replay commentary. This is an Enigma game that I played on stream a couple days ago, and I was going to give you a replay commentary while I also upload the video because I know you guys like those. Enigma is also a hero that I should have made a video of a while ago, but he is the most voted hero for me to do next. So if you guys want to vote for the next hero for me to do, you can hop over to my website at purgegamers.true.io. And you guys can also vote to see which hero you want. I think Terrorblade's also up there, and he's been up there for a while, so I haven't made him yet. Hopefully he will be made soon. So, things about Enigma. One of my favorite heroes, one of my most played as well. I think he's my 5th or 6th most played hero. He's a jungling hero that is kind of like a support. He can do a lot of these things. Initiator, jungling, and pushing. Those are his main things that he's really good at. He's okay at disabling, and he's decent at supporting, due to the fact that you usually buy a utility item. So the main of his skills kind of centers around demonic conversion. You turn a creep into these 3 little mini Eidolons, or these mini Enigmas, and if they attack 6 times, they multiply to 2 Eidolons, so they can only multiply once. But it basically provides you a ton of physical damage and lets you jungle very effectively, and overall keep your farm rate very, very high. With that said, very long cooldown, very expensive mana cost, so to offset that you usually need to buy a Soul Ring, and that's how that skill works. It's very good at pushing, since you have all these little guys tank towers and do damage. They also have pretty high armor as you level them up. The other skills are pretty straightforward. Malefice you put on a single target and it stuns them, does mini stuns for up to 1 second duration for 3 sources of stun and a maximum of 270 magic damage at level 4. Very decent ability for disabling carries and things like that and setting up kills. It's a decent disable, it's not amazing, but it's okay, it's pretty good. You've also got Midnight Pulse, which puts a big AoE on the ground that does pure damage over time, based on a percentage of their max HP. So this does a lot of damage if people stand in it for a long period of time. You can do up to, 60% of somebody's HP in pure damage. It's very, very good, and it goes through spell immunity, so it goes through Black King Bar. Very long cooldown of 35 seconds, and arguably the best Enigma ability is Black Hole, the ultimate, which lets you stun in an AoE heroes for up to 4 seconds. It's channeled though, so if you get stunned while you're doing this or silenced or whatever, then it stops working. But it does up to 220 damage at level 1, at level 2 it does 440, and at level 3 it does probably 660 or something like that. So it's actually a pretty good ability. Very, very long cooldown, one of the biggest cooldowns in the game, if not the biggest, and very expensive in terms of mana as well. So the way that Enigma usually works, as you can see, is almost always jungling. It's because everybody knows that Enigma is a jungler hero. I've actually never seen somebody with such a one-sided presence, but you start in the jungle, you max out your Eidolon or your demonic conversion, and you farm as fast as possible. You buy a Soul Ring, then you get a boots and a mech usually, and then you get a blink dagger afterwards. And you use those items to try to, ideally when your opponents don't see it coming, you blink and you black hole like 4 people. I didn't have very good black holes this game, so it wasn't the best example of that, but I sure farmed. Other good items to get, I don't like tranquil boots, don't buy those. I think you should either do brown boots, occasionally treads if you really need the HP, but guarding Greaves is also very common since you do buy mech. If you have mech, you might as well make guarding Greaves. You can remove silences and then black hole afterwards, or you can buy BKB later to also guarantee your black holes. All good items. Aghanim Scepter means your ultimate does Midnight Pulse with it, so you can basically do 2 Midnight Pulses, drop Midnight Pulse, then black hole, and the eggs will do extra damage. That's the solution. But some of these other items are kind of shots in the dark. The main items you should guarantee that you have every game is Boots, Mechanism, Blink Dagger, and a BKB. And a Soul Ring there as well, of course. So those are the items that you should have every game. They're kind of standard. If you're really rich, you can get things like Refresher Orb and Nags, which lets you ulti twice, or do more damage with your ultimate, but those are kind of things that you shouldn't really expect. You have average movement speed, you've got really good base armor, your damage is a little bit weak, but your int gain is quite good, your strength gain is pretty good as well. So your armor is kind of low as the game continues, but mech kind of offsets that, so it's not a big deal. Don't worry about his stats too much, it's not a big deal. Heroes you're good against, heroes that are a little bit weak to AoE, or that you can disable very well, you're very good against IO because you can black hole relocate. You're pretty good against Huskar because you can disable him for long periods of time and do pure damage. And same thing with all these other high HP heroes, you can just do pure damage to them and disable them for long periods of time. OD, that one's a little confusing to me, not sure what that's, but these are pretty marginal advantage rates. Here's your bad against Spectre, Sniper, a lot of heroes that can steal Black Hole while it's being channeled. Heroes that can ulti to interrupt it. Medusa, same thing, if she pops her ultimate and you try to channel Black Hole, it will stop you. Ember Spirit can easily get away because the disables on Enigma are weak, and Juggernaut, Warlock can interrupt your ult with his ulti, and Juggernaut, not sure about that one's a little weird. I guess Omni Slash is pretty good against Enigma if you find it. He will die to that in most cases. I don't completely agree with this skill build. Usually I'll go something like 1-4-1 by level 7, but sometimes going 2-4-0 by level 7 is not bad either. You pretty much always get your ult at 6. There's not a lot of cases where you shouldn't. If we look at the meta statistics. Alright, Enigma has a 54% win rate at 5k and above. That's actually quite good. He has a pretty good win rate at all MMRs. I think this is mostly due to the fact that he farms so fast and he can contribute that way. Not to mention that his gank and push is very solid. All important things. And Enigma, like I said, is one of my most played heroes. I have a 65.43% win rate on him, which is one of my highest. If you look at all the heroes that I play, he's about here. One other thing we didn't talk about how popular it is, 81st. He's actually not very popular, but he is occasionally played. That's pretty much everything you need to know about Enigma. Can hop into the game now and start the replay. So, I first picked Enigma, I believe. I told people on my team, I was like, go ahead, pick your heroes, and I will pick Enigma later. But nobody picked, and I didn't want to lose gold, so I grabbed Enigma to save everybody gold. So that sucked. The problem with picking Enigma first is he's one of the most easily countered heroes. And if you look at the heroes that they picked Silencer, who can silence me out of my black hole. They picked Venge, who can swap me out of my black hole, even if I have a BKB. And they also picked Rubik, who can steal my black hole. I don't think I said that yet. But those three heroes are very good against Enigma. Phoenix is not bad, but I basically can't kill Phoenix, and Phoenix can't kill me. Is kind of how that works. So I'm not too worried about that. A very common starting item build is that you'll buy either the courier or the wards. You don't have to buy both. In fact, I could have gotten away with it. I could have bought courier and the observer wards. But you usually start with a couple clarity potions. You don't need as many as you used to, because clarities do more mana than they used to. 190 mana is amazing for clarity. I usually get one set of tangos, that way I can pool my mid, and you will take a little bit of damage in the jungle. And then I usually get some ironwood branches because they slightly increase my farming rate. They give me slightly more mana. And I eventually put them into a mech, so buying the 2 ironwood branches I think is good. Another downside to Enigma is you can't actually level 1 fight, because you always want to get demonic conversion. There's no reason to get your stun at level 1, it's just not worth it. And there's not really that much reason for me to show up to a fight either. So rather than do that, I go to a lane that I want to deny a creep from. So I go to the creep, I deny the range creep, and that's going to basically help out our Elder Titan in the offlane to get more experience in his wave, because the wave will now push less because there's no range creep. So spawning Eidolons. Immediately after you spawn the Eidolon, you go to heal, you send the Eidolons to the jungle, and then you try to get there at the 30-second mark, basically. I left a fraction of a second too late there. I'm going to go to the jungle, and then I'm going to try to accelerate as fast as possible. Now, if you're completely uncontested in your jungle and you do everything perfectly, you can hit level 6 at 4.5 minutes from jungling. This is one of the reasons that Enigma is so strong, because he just levels up so fast. Now, Troll Warlords are a little scary to do to start off the laning stage, so this is maybe something I shouldn't have done. It slowed me down a little bit. But you can do Troll Warlords as the large camp. All of the other camps are a bit easier. And things basically get scary when he spawns skeletons. In most cases, you should be able to kill this before the 1 minute mark, but the problem was that he spawned skeletons, and because he spawned skeletons, it took a lot more damage than he should have, and that meant that I didn't kill this camp before the 1 minute mark. That's the biggest thing that delays your acceleration as an Enigma when you're jungling here, is by not killing that camp before the 1 minute mark. If I kill that camp before the 1 minute mark, it respawns. This double stack of Eidolons that I have continues farming, and I can farm just a little bit faster, because now I have to go from large camp to medium camp to medium camp. I basically go from here to here to here, and then I wait for respawn. Instead, I could have gone here, pulled it out, kill it, attack it again, and then do the rotation, and my overall rotation would have been a lot more efficient, basically. So it helps a lot to get that first kill in time, but because the skeleton spawned, I got a little screwed. So just a little bit unlucky based on what creep camp actually spawned there. Now the other important thing is that you always keep all of your Eidolons alive. I actually lost one there, which is a little bit of a mistake. But if you have less Eidolons, you do less damage. So it's important to rotate the ones that are low. This is micro very similar to StarCraft micro. It's the only hero that I always felt actually was kind of like StarCraft micro. When everybody would talk about micro heroes in Dota, it's not the same really. I maybe should have started at the medium camp that I was just at rather than going to this one, because now it's going to be inefficient in my movements. If I farm here and then I go from here to here, I'm spending less time moving. If I start farm here and then I go to large camp, by the time I come back to this medium camp, it's not going to be there. So I'm basically walking extra to go through my jungle path. So this is inefficient what I'm doing here. It's a big deal that you think about how your Eidolons are moving when you're figuring out how you're farming. Now this camp's a little hard to do. You'd have to pay attention to your Eidolons unlike I did here. But you should always kill them, make sure that they stay alive, because again, it's more damage that you're losing. Luckily for me, I did kill it in time, but again, I'm kind of in a bad spot. Now, I did want to go aggressively into the enemy jungle, so this is going to mess up my timing a little bit, and it might confuse you, but Cap was asking for a call to help. He was basically soloing versus a Drow Ranger here, and I don't think he necessarily played that lane right. I've laned Elder Titan versus a Drow Ranger before, and I think what you have to do is go for an Orb of Venom, but he didn't really know that he was going to be 1v1, so it's not really his fault. But I think his skill build was wrong as well. He didn't get any levels in his passive, and considering that Drow has pretty high base armor, I think this is a mistake. I guess it's pretty bad, it's only 2. Anyways, I'm basically going to the enemy jungle so that I can farm here, because if I do get a bunch of Eidolons up, I can basically spawn the Eidolons and dive the tower and easily get a kill. So I wanted to farm aggressively, that way they didn't get as much value out of their lanes. So now that I have Soul Ring, basically every time that you cast your Eidolons, you use Soul Ring. It's a 30-second cooldown, demonic conversion is 35, so pretty much every time you should be doing that. I'm just trying to double up my Eidolons here and get a level 5 before I think about diving. I did see the Rubik now who shifted to the off lane. Again, the reason I used a smoke to get down here was because I didn't want to be spotted by any wards so that they didn't anticipate my gank coming. So in some ways I kind of wasted my time here, but you don't have to worry that much about supports in the early game. I'm level 5 here, this guy's only level 3. I can easily fight against him. He's going to grab the bounty rune, which is a bit of a mistake by me, but I'm happy to do some damage to him. I do have to worry about more people coming though, so I decided to run back for a little bit. I was kind of surprised to see him dive so far past, but this is fine. I can just back off and go jungle. The only reason he was able to do that is because my Eidolons went away, basically. A little bit of a mistake here for Slicks to get ganked by this. I think he wasn't anticipating the Venge also being there. Don't know if my Midnight Pulse is worth it. Luckily for me, that Observer Ward was there, so I was able to get the kill, but otherwise I wouldn't have been able to have that kill. He also could have hid behind the tree, but he didn't really know that. Gonna see if I can do some dragon damage here. You can Ancient on Enigma, but it's a little hard. I wasn't microing this at all well at the start, but I did get a resummon here. Again, the important thing is that you don't let any of them die. And I let one die, but they should double soon. Okay. If that one would have died, I would have gone really slow and this camp would have been extremely inefficient. And as a whole, these camps aren't super efficient, but they are a lot of gold and a lot of experience. So use my last tango here. And I hit 6 at about 5 minutes, which is still actually really fast. So killing that, getting the experience from the Rubik and killing that ancient stack helped a lot. Now, demonic conversion can't work on the highest one. If you're wondering why I was never casting on the strong one, that's why. It never works on the biggest creep. It only works on the medium or the lower creeps. So I'm just bringing some items out, bringing myself another smoke. That way I can set up a smoke gank if needed. And I'll send my Eidolons off. They can't really do anything right now. Got my buckler as well. It's usually better to grab your buckler in the early game. If you're really low on HP, you will go for the headdress instead. But really nice kill there. That's Slicks, by the way, playing the Shadow Fiend this game. I'm gonna give him a clarity potion because I had one left over. He's missing some mana, so that can help out a lot. That'll give him like a raise or two. And I'm just gonna shift back into the jungle, in the aggressive jungle. Bring in some illusions as well. Just want to see if I can get a gank off on these guys. Didn't want to ulti for this. And once he telekinesis like this, I knew that all I would have to do is attack him a few times. Barely had enough damage. Could have been moving my Eidolons a bit better here as well. I wanted to do a double black hole here. Yeah, I did that way too early. I was playing on EU. We do guarantee a kill on the Vengeful Spirit. That's not terrible to do. It's a little bit of a waste, but getting the hero kill and then going for the tower push afterwards can be really useful. And make sure that you do buckler the creep wave, because 2 armor can make a difference between whether or not the creep wave survives or not. I'm also pulling the next creep wave left using an Eidolon. The Rubik was there to deny the creep, but doing a little bit of damage like this isn't bad at all. Chachi appears to be dead. Put a Midnight Pulse down to do some damage to him, but it's just not going to do that much. Is that a recipe? I don't think that was a mech. Oh, it was, okay. So, unfortunately I accidentally pulled 2 creeps to the left. And then I'm just going to go hit up the jungle to finish up my mechanism. You should be doing some rotating as Enigma, don't just go to the jungle and AFK farm. And generally don't just rush the Blink Dagger as well. You have to get a Soul Ring. Try not to buy Basilius in most cases because it's just a little too expensive. That's like a super old build, like a 4-year-old build or something. Basilius is good for pushing, but again, there's a lot of other cores that will purchase it right now, especially like Shadow Fiend. He'll buy things like Aquila. You don't need to buy it on Enigma. The Basilius is a bit of a waste. It does give armor to my summons, but it's just not something you should do. Soul Ring covers you mana pool wise. If you want to get Arcanes afterwards, that's an option. You end up surviving just barely here. It's a nice kill by the Phoenix to go for the Necrophos. Alright, and that's my mech finish at about 8.5 minutes. Now again, the reason you don't really want to rush the Blink Dagger, it can set you up for some more kills, but the reality is that it doesn't help you as much as a mech does in terms of team fights. The only way that Blink is better is if you catch like 5 heroes. And at your MMR, if that happens, then whatever, get Blink Dagger. But in most cases, the Blink isn't worth it. Now stacking camps like this is really good to do. I don't think I did this one on purpose at all. But if you can stack the camps up, it increases your farm rate by a lot. So stacking the camps as you're killing them helps a massive amount. I wouldn't be surprised. I actually have the highest net worth in the game right now because I've been farming fairly efficiently. That's Enigma, man. The hero farms really rapidly. I also did get a gimme kill on the Rubik that the Shadow Fiend set up and the other kill, but that was a gank. So I'm slightly ahead of where I should be basically, but I'm still doing pretty well. That's just why I like playing Enigma. He's like very farm heavy. You get a lot done. Now that I have my mech, I'm actually going to heal up decently. I'll be getting what, 4 HP per second. It's not bad. It'll help offset the Soul Ring. With the Soul Ring and the mech, I'm getting about 7 right now. But there's basically nothing to farm, so I'm just going to wait for the camps to respawn. I could have maybe walked to the top rune. That's something else I could have done instead. But again, back to the farm grind. Until Black Hole comes up again, I'm not necessarily aiming to go all in on a kill. Really nice swap there. Trying to show up in time. I could have just black holed him there, and I think I should have. If I would have black holed him before he spun, then I think we could have won that fight. I did use mech already, so now it is time to run. I was actually quite surprised I didn't just die there. I feel like the Rubik should have gone more aggressive on me since I used my mech already. But I definitely should have just black holed the Jug. If I black holed him from range, then my teammates could have like right-click double raised, and I think he just would have died. So, small mistake, but by the time I didn't look at the map in time to realize how far away the supports were. If the supports ran up with him, then it would have been bad for me to black hole. But I should have looked at the map and saw that he was out of position, and we could have killed him there. No one died though, so it's okay. And back to the farm I go.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
If you wonder why my Eidolons look a little different, it's just a cosmetic item that you can get. It's pretty inexpensive. I think when I bought mine it was like 70 cents.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Almost always you will max out Malefice after the stun, or after Eidolons though, just because it helps you so much more in team fights. The extra damage that you get from Midnight Pulse isn't really worth it, because it's 4 points and only increases the damage by like what, not even like 80% or something. So I really don't recommend maxing out Midnight Pulse second. It's just almost always not going to be worth it. So next items, if you're wondering about what I buy next, Blink Dagger, I could maybe justify buying Arcane Boots and going into Guardian Greaves. There's a silence from Drow Ranger, so that might be nice to have. Some games I end up buying Pipe as well as the next item, just because it helps your team more in terms of fights. I really should have a TP scroll, that's one thing I'm super missing. Because I can't even TP to a lane to help out if I want to. Nobody's mid, so I'll take mid, let my Eidolons finish off camps. Push out the lanes with my Eidolons while I approach to where my team is. That guy messed up pretty bad. I know they saw me coming, but you know, if I wasted my black hole there for sure. I definitely wasted it. I didn't need to use it in that position. Basically, the Rubik stopped walking. I think if the Rubik didn't stop walking like twice there to try to lift with telekinesis, I think he was trying to click on us, and he kept misclicking. But if he didn't mess up there, in fact, let's go back to see exactly what he was doing. Yep, he tried to click, and then he couldn't. And he tried to click again. So he basically got fogged twice, which is why he stopped moving. But in reality, he should have been walking more. Oh, I forgot about the Aegis symbol that makes. If he would have kept walking more, then he wouldn't have gotten caught by that.
Bottom tower is under attack.
So I thought, I was like, okay, I'm just going to black hole him, that way he doesn't juke in trees and all that stuff. But he stopped walking twice, and because of that, I really didn't need to use it anymore, and I should have stopped it. But, so that was a big waste. You shouldn't fully waste it. That was a waste because we could have gotten that kill without using black hole, as a reaction of how he played badly. So I should have cancelled my attacks and not wasted it, but I definitely wasted it there. And now I basically can't have that stun for 3 minutes, which is so much. Like, for 3 minutes, I know that if a Juggernaut runs after me, that my only salvation is like teleporting and having Eidolons nearby, basically. You can kill trees with Midnight Pulse. Sometimes if you need to farm faster, you can also cut trees down and gank that way, by approaching your opponent from a way that they're not expecting you to approach from. Eidolons to farm, and then I'm going to back off and get a Blink Dagger and probably go heal. I should be looking mid to see if I should go, is what I should be doing with my time right now.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I didn't quite have Blink Dagger. I was hoping to back off so I could get the blink off after.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Gotta kill that healing ward. Alright, now it's definitely time to walk away. Unless Slicks goes from the backside. And back to farm. So we had a lot of poking against each other, but not that much was happening. Again, select the one that's a little bit low, back him up, and continue attacking. Really straightforward and easy way to get farm. Net worth's still the highest. KDA is pretty good, I haven't died yet. XP per minute's really high, GPM's really high. What about my levels? My levels are maxed, are met with the highest next person. Now, people used to not get 2 points of Enigma's Black Hole because the mana cost went up a lot, but they buffed it recently, so the mana cost only marginally goes up. So you can justify getting a second point. This is a big mistake. These are worth a lot of gold each one. So if I feed 6 of them, that's like 180 gold. It's quite a lot. Make sure you use your Blink Daggers for what it was made for, aka farming faster. Gets you from camp to camp a little more rapidly. You should use it. Oh, I'm gonna lose one. Oh good, I pulled it back. What I should probably be doing is, as the Eidolons are about to kill something, I should pull the new wave closer to it so they can start attacking earlier. Could be farming these slightly faster. My damage is a smaller component than the Eidolons is. Just moving them from camp to camp, see if I can get some farm out of them. Taking this last tier 1 is pretty important here. Got Blink Black Hole though. I was gonna Blink Black Hole that, but Cap kind of scared him away. I think Cap kind of messed that up, because I could have Blinked forward, aggressively Black Holed him, and we just would have killed him. But when he casted the Spirit and he ran at him, he got scared. Maybe it would have happened regardless of Cap initiating it like that, but to be careful not to get swapped here. It's very dangerous positioning. I was looking to see if I could do a black hole. Can't blink for 5 though. First I need to see who's standing over here. Chachi just kind of got messed up though. And now I lost my smoke.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So we're in a slight stalemate here. Just because we don't want them to take our tower, so we sit here and we defend it, all that good stuff. Slicks realizing he's got phase boost this game. He goes kind of a weird Shadow Fiend build. But when we were in Korea, he used to go like phase, in pubs at least, like phase Manta and stuff. I gave him the mech here, that should keep him alive. He would go like phase Mascomanus Manta. That was when Mascomanus was better though. It's a little different, but... So we went that same build, phase. I think he sold it later and bought treads because he was against a Phoenix though, which is definitely something that he should be doing. Chachi appears to be dead.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
You know, I maybe could have gone in on that. But just, it's not looking good. You know, when those two are close, I maybe could have blink hold.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Just kind of feeling fights out. Chachi's gonna be out of position now. I had to mech him because I knew the Fire Spirit was likely to kill him. If I did not.
Dire's structures are fortified. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I mean, I really want to black hole this, but again, if Drow Ranger's not in the black hole, if Vengeful Spirit's not in the black hole, if Rubik's not in the black hole, my black hole will get cancelled. That's 3 heroes that have to be in it for that to be effective. I can see that Drow Ranger's mid now, so maybe engaging would have been a good thing. But the fights look very difficult to initiate on. It's a big spin by him. We do get the tower though, so after a very long engagement, things kind of work out finally. And now you go back to farming. If you're wondering how the creeps use their abilities, when there's 3 or more units in the area. So the only reason he stomped is because I had 3 Eidolons in close range against him. If that's basically why the satyrs sometimes come out of the neutral and nuke heroes, it's because there happens to be 3 heroes or units in the area, and they usually prioritize heroes a little bit more. Now we got the tower, but it looks like they're going to be able to take top in response.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
But us showing up to that I don't think is very realistic. It was already quite low.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
We'll just continue farming. At this stage in the game, there's a lot of items that Enigma can buy, depending on how the game is going. I was kind of having a nice time with this game, and I felt like I was doing fairly well, so I was like, yeah, I'll just buy some stupid item. We'll get like a Lincoln's or something like that, right? It's pretty good this game because it would stop a lot of the things that interrupt me, like Venge Swap or Rubik Lift. It stops Omni Slash as well if he casts it directly on me, but it doesn't stop Gust. And if the game gets a little bit hard, not having a BKB can make a huge difference. If I just BKB and I hole and I make sure that I catch Venge, then there's nothing to stop me unless Rubik steals like Reaper Scythe or something like that. So BKB is almost always just the straightforward answer. Blink BKB on Enigma just solves your problems, man. Get to do whatever you want. I don't want my Eidolons to be here, so I just kept them on the wave pushing and then used a mix of right-clicking and Midnight Pulse to kill this wave. Other side of the map, we're just still kind of farming.
Roshan has fallen to the
Juggernaut, the solo Roche taker. Could maybe argue that I'm not sitting with my team enough, but when I'm this close to BKB, I'd rather just farm the jungle. And we did a pretty good job of splitting the map up. My team was pretty much farming all 3 lanes, kind of, and their jungle as well as ours, so I think we were getting more resources overall, and I think you can see that by the network tab. So my BKB is finished, it should be on the way. And now we're pretty much happy to fight entirely. If I'm having a game where we're pushing a lot and fighting a lot, I'll probably prioritize going for a... what's that item called? Guardian Greaves before I go for BKB, but this game is just very clear that I needed a way to channel my ultimate fully. So now we wait for the fight.
Haste.
So many places to farm. The Dryranger has a Dragon Lance and a Midas, and I don't know why he has Boots of Travel. I think the Boots of Travel he really messed up on. I don't think you could justify getting Boots of Travel on Dryranger. The hero doesn't farm fast enough, so yeah, I guess you can teleport across the map and get big waves, but I don't think it's justified. It's too dangerous to go. You need more damage than that. Like, he has actually horrible damage right now. Yeah, he's got his ulti and he's got a Midas, but that's it.
Is under attack.
Wanted to see if I could get a hero here. That was a poor choice. Found 2 heroes. This stage I felt a little scared because I felt like they were going to be catching up in farm since there was a Midas on the Phoenix, but looking at the numbers now, the fact that Jug is actually behind all of those people is pretty bad for them. And now that I have BKB, I can transition back into Guardian Greaves so that I can get the really low mech cooldown. Goes from 65 seconds to 40 seconds, which is a huge difference. Really big difference. You can basically use Guardian Greaves like twice in a fight, whereas mech is like a once per fight thing no matter what. Cat barely survived. And more farming. Alright, I'm just going to speed the game up a little bit now because there was a lot of farming in this game. And I think you've gotten it pretty much straight down how Enigma farms. A little bit of micro, a lot of right clicking, and camp to camp to camp. Now that I've got Arcane Boots, I'm going to be regenerating mana a little bit faster. I don't like selling the Soul Ring. don't have mech here, unfortunately.
Your journey ends.
Fight actually ended up pretty okay for us. They did not get the Phoenix ultimate off. I used my BKB, didn't really want a black hole because there were a lot of heroes spread out. Sometimes it's just better not to use it, and that's one of those cases because they still fear it then. If I use it on the Drow Ranger, then all of their heroes collapse on me and they start right-clicking me because they know that I'm going to be channeling it. I still take decent physical damage. Again, my armor's not amazing. It's 6, it's pretty good. I've got a mech that gives me a total of 11, but it's not infallible. You can still die Enigma-wise from ranged attacks, especially because they have so many ranged heroes. And they had a Draw Ranger, so I could have holed her, but I probably would have gotten swapped if I did. So if those heroes just aren't grouped enough, it's just not going to work. So Guardian Greaves on the way. Again, I can remove a silence, I can debuff other things. And back to their jungle is a really good place to farm. I can do this decently aggressively because, again, I've got a Blink Dagger, I've got a BKB, I've got a mech. So if I'm farming aggressively, I can definitely get away with it. Usually I like to focus on 2 camps when I'm farming aggressively, like these 2 or these 2. And then I can swing in and out of the jungle to push the wave out. And if they don't have a ward over here, they don't necessarily know when I'm going to be here. And they feel scared to approach. It's basically how you would do a gank if you went from trees. Drop Midnight Pulse, attack with creeps. And this game may seem a little boring if you guys don't like farming, but I do enjoy a bit of farming. I kind of messed up there by not using a new creep, but then it kind of seemed like they were running at me, so I started running the right. Looking at the map now and the replay, you can clearly see that they have a ward in this area. I should have blinked there. It was a late reaction. I did get my BKB off in time though. Fortunately, I missed from the low ground here. My black hole there would have been really good if I got it off, but unfortunately I took too much damage from the side, from the Rubik, so I died. I think the biggest mistake there, first of all, I stayed around too long. I knew they were probably shifting to me. First mistake was I didn't blink away as soon as the Rubik blinked in. I shouldn't have made that mistake. Second mistake was that I ran too far away from the egg. I didn't anticipate my allies coming, and I didn't look at the map to see if they were coming. I just ran for the hill, or ran for the hills. And once I ran downhill and I attacked the egg, I missed. And if I wouldn't have missed there, we would have killed the egg, and the fight would have been completely different. As soon as the egg went off and we got SF stunned, the fight is pretty much lost. So killing the Phoenix there would have been really, really big. So that was a big mistake. So it's because I ran too far and I ran downhill. I should have just maybe hit the egg, looked to see who was coming, and hit the egg. But I felt very solo at the time. And watching it there, I also felt solo, but I know that I was not. So, a little bit of mistake there, but the main thing was I shouldn't have been caught. Very straightforward. Shouldn't have been caught. I should not be the brunt, the initiation. I shouldn't be the hero that gets initiated on. I should be the hero that counter-initiates, basically. Bought an Observer Ward here. Just to help out the support a little bit. Don't know why I BKB'd here. I think this was a bit of a mistake. But we did get a bit of a kill. I was able to get the blink off after the swamp. So we lost a CM and a Necro for a Rubik ulti. It's not horrible, but it's bad. I would say it's bad. Bad is the right way to describe that. So we knew they were going to push bottom now because of the fact that they got kills. So that's why I'm basically just streaming to the top lane, because I know that they're unlikely to be there. Then we saw a couple of heroes showing up.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
I was about to black hole that, by the way, so that really sucked that the silence came out then. So we would have killed both of those heroes otherwise. Got 2 heroes in the black hole. Had to BKB to stop the damage. The only reason I lived there is because my HP was low, so I was getting the super bonus armor.
Top tower is under attack.
And then we killed the Drow. When you're really, really low in Enigma, I think you get bonus 15 armor. So that was pretty cool. I thought I was dead for sure when that Drow hit me. They also might have been a hero next to us, or agility might have been really low. This is a little bit of a little sloppily done, but... a bit of a TP out.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Now I was trying to figure out what to buy, so I was like, Hex.
Radiant's middle tower.
Hex is usually a pretty good item to buy in like Enigma. So another thing I like about him is that you can pretty much always transition your items really well. You can buy things like Hex, you can buy Shivas, you can buy Refresher, you can buy joke items, you can buy Lincolns. There's a lot of really good things that you can purchase. Once you get Hex though, I would sell Soul Ring most likely to make space. But we're kind of just in a really winning scenario here. There's 2 heroes that can't buy back for at least 20 seconds, 3 other dead heroes. It's really nice to have that, that Necro ability. Keep the push going.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's middle tower.
Yo, that is some damage. I don't know what Cap has, but doesn't have much. Just reduces the armor and hits hard. That's it.
Middle tower has fallen.
That was some incredible damage.
Ancient is under attack.
And then the game just kind of ended because they just didn't have enough people. For some reason I thought I had Black Hole there. I think. I thought I caught the Drow in that, but unfortunately I wasn't fast enough.
Radiant's ancient is under attack.
I looked dead.
Radiant's ancient is under attack.
That killed him. That was really big. If that went to kill Jug, it would have been a bit of a weird spot, but... It's kind of funny. Anyways, we ended up winning. So a lot of farming, but eventually just a couple good fights means you win the game. And the turning point was kind of where I got the double black hole. The Phoenix was on the outside. There wasn't really anything you could do to stop my ult, and it allowed us to get an ulti kill on one of their core heroes, and we turned that into a push, and then things just kind of kept snowballing. So you can farm very fast on this hero. You can farm almost as fast as a lot of cores and a lot of other farming positions. Just please make sure that you do spend a lot of time roaming and pushing in the early game. If you just AFK jungle, you're really hurting your team. You need to occasionally, like around level 5 or so, level 5, level 6, get those levels pretty fast, shift into a gank push. If you kill somebody, push the tower, take the tower, and then do it again later at a different place. Get the fast mech, push through team, heal them up during those little fights that happen, and hopefully you'll win fights. and that should transition into the common core items, and then eventually you should be getting some good black holes, and that should secure you victories. So that's how you play Enigma. Thanks for watching, guys. Again, if you guys want to vote for who I make a video of next, go to the forum at purgegamers.true.io, and it should be in there. I'm also going to put a link in the drop down box below if you guys want to go for a direct link. Then you can sign up for the website and vote for what hero you want to see. Alright, thanks for watching. See you guys later. Bye.